What? You just can't be, it can't be just Lily. It has to be you.
No. Charlie said, I have to.
You have to have your, oh, you have to have your day in the sun too.
It's that big when it's backed by mine. See?
He's so adorable. He's like a little, you look like a bear, a little cubby bear I'd like to eat up. You know, I didn't realize, I knew I'd enjoy it and I knew I'd love it, but I didn't realize how life-changing it was going to be. And I just don't know how to describe that. I don't want to sound overly dramatic, but like you just said about that India thing, it's not, oh, I feel sorry for a bunch of people. I just didn't, it's not that. I didn't have pity. I had envy that they could live among this land that, you know, we have no idea what it's like to be there. And people that, if the one trip you could take, if it were me and you had limited funds or time or whatever, the one trip I would take is to cover all of Africa. And that's, I mean, and I've been to Europe, I've been to a lot of places, and I'm not saying that's not wonderful too, but for really learning the source of the earth and life, and really to see the animals you've only dreamed about, you've only seen pictures of, and also the people, I mean, you know, Stephen and the people that are with you, and in Kenya, I met the most fabulous people. There's such wonderful people. I never would have thought about that. I never would have imagined it.
And you know what I remember about when you were on your way out, you know, you said, no, I don't want to see any of the people. I just want to see the wildlife.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I wanted Stephen to come and meet you because I knew the two of you would get on like a house of fire.
Yeah. Well, he's fabulous.
And that was the beginning of it. And you just fell because
well,
they're just so, you know, here's the thing. They, in our opinion, they have so little.
But in their mind, they have so much.
Yes. And the thing is, they do have
like I told you, my daughter, this is what it did for my daughter. This is one lesson for anybody listening. It's going to seem shallow, but it did so much for me. We had a guide in Kenya during the second trip, and he was the most just sweet, wonderful. He had this little old camera. And even though he was a guide, must have gone out like every day, he would take these shots, you know, if we saw something special that he obviously wanted to photograph. I mean, clearly when you go out, there's a different thing happening every day. There's no like rehearsal for the animals. Do you know at the end of that trip, my daughter gave him her Nikon, came to me and said, Mom, can I give, forgive me, I think his name was David. And she said, can I give David my Nikon and my iPad? And I said, are you kidding me? I said, I'm not going to buy you a new one when you get home. I think it's fabulous. But make a decision not based on emotion, blah, 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 blah. Well, everything's based on emotion. But you know, right? And she was so happy to do it. Oh, and the man started crying. You know, you tip them, you want to tip them. What better way to we gave him a whole new life, you know? So, but the fact that my daughter thought that up herself showed me that some of her spoiled bratness that she got just from being an American kid.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like you can't do your kid a bigger favor than to show them the world and get them to feel empathy for other people. I mean, that's what's going to bring this world together.
Yes.
We better start doing it.
Yeah. Yes, we really do. We really do.
Yeah. So that's the trip I would say anybody should get.
You know, when we started, well, it is a great trip, and I'm glad to hear you speak of it in this way. But you know, when we started this work in 1982, we were based on a very traditional paternalistic model of really just saving the wildlife, and it became very evident within a couple of years that the only way to do it was to work with the
people. Yeah,
and no, you're right. They benefited, and this was the whole time during the 80s. It was like the 100th monkey syndrome, and everybody finally by the end of the 80s got onto this idea. Well, we were really amongst the first to do community conservation. And we took about a year of talking to the elders, who were all men, to convince them to let us start working with their women and in the schools with the children. And we have been working ever since with the Maasai to preserve their wildlife and wildlands through education and through encouraging sustainable business practices.
Yep.
And all along, incredibly important, as you well know, has been the education of women. But you know, finally, 2 years ago, I was able to start this program, which I called Yes We Can, to empower Maasai girls. In the main school where we work, we started this Maasai Girls Empowerment Program, first ever in rural Kenya, first ever program designed just to empower girls. And we include the boys in this program as well as their families.
So they can learn. So they can learn how to, yeah, you almost have to, because, you know, it's a whole society. It's, you know, like they say it takes a village. Well, it takes a village to change too.
So you know, and what's happened with this program is I've said, look, this is my idea. What do you think? Well, Stephen, who's now our executive director, and you know, our projects officer in the field, he's so great, the Maasai, and who's just,
I love him.
And he's taken it and run with it. And we're now trying to expand it into 6 more schools, Rhonda.
Oh, wow.
They have really tailored it to work for themselves. It's really incredibly exciting.
That's terrific.
Now what we're trying to do this year is we need 2 more rangers, and they're going to be women. And we're trying to put the funding together to expand our Yes We Can program and to add 2 women rangers to our group of 5.
That would be so cool.
Which is really
and good for the girls to see.
Good for the girls to see.
They can be that when they grow up. Yeah.
Exactly.
And they have the maternal side to protect too. So great idea. I'm with you all the way.
Okay, thanks. You'd like to say?
Well, I just encourage everybody I really just encourage everybody to understand how important this cause is, because even though I'm an animal person, I go cut right to the chase. If you don't educate the people, it costs the animals. So I'm all about it. And once I met your people and saw how phenomenal they were, and I mean, I was humbled before them. So, I mean, you completely changed my mind about that too. Stop it, Roydie. But anyway, yeah, like I said, education first. And I think that we should just both share as much as we can from this video.